Oh. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Rama Mamuddhara Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Akhandam Satchidanandam Avang Manasagocharam Atmanamakhilādharam Ashraye Bhishta Siddhaye Arthatopyadvayanandan Atitadvaita Bhanatah Guruna Radhya Vedanta Saram Vakshe Yathamati. Hari Om. We were seeing the portion of sadhana chatushtaya. Sadhana itself means wealth. Sadhana, one meaning is wealth. Sadhana also is the resource by which we can get something. That which will help us accomplish our goal, that thing is called as sadhana. If somebody goes to the market or you go to a mall, there might be so many things there. But whether I will get that thing or not depends on my sadhana. If I have the resources, I have the ability to get that thing, then only I can benefit from that thing being available to me. Over here also, if somebody wants unconditioned happiness, if somebody wants that happiness which doesn't come and go, which is permanent, eternal happiness, the means to get that, the inner wealth that I need to get or to recognize that happiness, that inner wealth is called as sadhana chatushtaya. Now, one thing to remember is Brahma is available to everybody, or everyone is Brahma to begin with. But only those who have sadhana chatushtaya will come to study Vedanta and appreciate their own nature as Brahma. And in and through their vyavahara, that vyavahara will not obstruct this knowledge of Paramartha. So one sadhana chatushtaya will help before studying Vedanta. It will help us to clear Shravanam and everything. But after Shravanam is done, after Mananam is done, Nididhyasanam is done, to help us keep our mind in this knowledge and not get tossed up and down by this vyavahara, that also is the contribution of sadhana chatushtaya. We had seen two of them. One was Viveka, second was vairagya. The first step is just to understand their definition, try to reflect on it. But sadhaka, we realize it takes a long journey. Sadhana Chatushtaya doesn't come because we have studied Vedantasara. Sadhana Chatushtaya comes when we have put forth effort to actually bring this virtues, bring this sadhanas in our life, and we have done our duty well. That was the connection. All the karmas done very well will lead us to the first sadhana chatushtaya of Viveka. Some satsanga would have been done where they would tell that there is something called as nitya vastu, and that is what one should seek in life. Anitya vastu, the nature is, it is constantly changing, and it will reveal its nature to us in the form of disappointments. Okay, because in general, anityatva also becomes a very technical word. We don't see the world as impermanent. But we do see the world as something which keeps disappointing us. He says that disappointment is the another name of anityatva. And when somebody is pointed out in this way, that there is a nitya vastu and everything else is anitya, ability to start thinking in this direction, that ability is called as Viveka. The sadhaka might not be abiding in that nitya vastu yet. He might not have complete vairagya towards anitya vastu also. But still he is training himself to think in that direction. That ability is called as Viveka. And if something we have recognized is not our purpose, if something we have recognized is not serving our purpose, towards that thing we will have vairagya. Okay, so if anitya vastu has been understood as something which cannot be our goal, the natural result of that viveka is in vairagya. Okay, so all these pointers we had seen in the last session. Then came shamadi, shatka, sampatti, the six-fold qualifications which are clubbed under one category. I don't know if you had seen this last time. Somebody might have the question, why not count them as 6 different things? Right? Why just have it as shamadi, shatka, sampatti? If you observe them, they are very closely interrelated. Means to draw a very distinct line between shamah and damah is difficult. Between dama and titiksha, what we are going to see today, like all the 6 qualities are very interlinked, and if you focus on one, if we try to get one of it, all other 5 of them will also come along with it. Okay, so that is one reason why these 6 things are clubbed in one. Not that our acharyas wanted to trick us, like how you feed children, right? In that roll or something, you put all vegetables and just give them, saying that it is something else. They didn't want us to think that it is fewer, and then they ended up giving us more sadhana chatushtaya. There was another question last time, that whenever we see this sadhana chatushtaya, it sometimes feels like we are way away or we are far off from our goal. And this is not for us, something like that. It is a good feeling to have, if we feel that way, that we still have to work on something. That is how we will move closer towards being an adhikari. But at the same time, Bhagavan says where we are now does not matter. As long as our conviction or goal is in the right place, where we want to go, Bhagavan says, I will take care of the rest. That person Bhagavan calls as Sadhu Purusha. Why? Because his resolve is right and he is headed in the right direction. And as we saw before, there is no other way also. That sadhana chatushtaya will not suddenly come one day. It will come drop by drop. Samiti samiti jali bhare hi talaba. Jimi sadguna sajjana pahi ava. Goswami wrote in Ramayana that this pond is not filled suddenly, or this lake which is there, it has gotten filled with one drop by drop, just like a sajjana, a good person, has evolved by gathering these good virtues, good qualities, drop by drop. Jimi sadguna sajjana pahi ava. Simiti simiti jala bharahi talaba. So we had seen Shama and Dama, just an introduction to them. Let us chant it, 19th and 20th one. Shamastavate, Shamastavate, Shravanadi Vyatirikta Vishayebhyaha, Shravanadi Vyatirikta Vishayebhyaha, Manaso Nigrahaha, Manaso Nigrahaha, Damaha, Damaha, Bahyendriyanam, Bahyendriyanam, Tadvyatirikta Vishayebhyaha, Tadvyatirikta Vishayebhyaha, Nivartanam, Nivartanam. Now, Vedantasara definition is very focused on Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. So, Acharya says the main cause of moksha, that one thing which will lead us to liberation, is clear knowledge, which we otherwise call as prama. Clear knowledge about essence of Upanishad, which is in the form of what is our true nature and what is the nature of this world. What is Bhagwan's true nature? What is our relationship with Bhagwan? Now, clear knowledge of this is moksha. And the means for that clear knowledge is going to be Shravanam. Not even Mananam. First Shravanam, then Mananam, on top, Mananam on what we have heard, and Nididhyasanam also in that thing where we have had conviction in. About whichever topic we have gotten conviction, on that topic we can meditate. If this is the case, then the ability of the sadhaka to keep mind in Vedanta, in particular while doing Shravanam, that ability is called as shamah. Examples we had seen in the last class, Gurudev's class, Guruji telling everybody, even if mountain falls, you don't turn back, because right now your main focus should be just Shravanam. And this is an ability that one can increase. It doesn't happen right away. Initially, we might be able to focus for 10 minutes. I say after 10 minutes, my mind is gone. But slowly, that duration increases and one can do Shravanam for long hours. Effective Shravanam, single pointed, 1.5 to 2 hours class also, this sadhaka can feel very, very alert and absorb whatever is said. Okay. So what is shamaha? It is mainly related to this mind quickly flying off to other topics. It suddenly, goes to some object, some incident, some person. Not worrying about where it has gone, but quietly bringing it back and putting it in this Shravanam. Now there is something to note over here. This is a sadhana pointer. Just for our mananam, we should ask ourselves this question: where does this mind generally go? Or what makes this mind go away from Vedanta? You will find two categories there. One category is our kartavya karma. Like if you are attending Vedanta class just before your work, and you have something due right after this class. So there is a chance that this mind will go. And the second category is those places where we have raga dvesha. It is not kartavya, not that our duty is calling for that. Wherever we have strong likes and dislikes, there our mind will go. And Bhagavan Krishna says, the first one, kartavya, which is there, it actually does not bother. I mean, that is easier to handle. If somebody does karma with karma yoga buddhi, Bhagavan says that same karma which would have bound this person, that will not bind him. This ability is called as kushalata, yogaha karmasu kaushalam. That karma which would have bound this person, that is not binding him anymore. So that kartavya buddhi, wherever mind is, or that kartavya in which mind is going, it is easier to pull it back. What becomes difficult is the second one. Okay, likes and dislikes. That is why so much of emphasis is given on that particular sadhana. In Vedanta, sadhana is not action oriented. It is more of what has that sadhana done to us. If it has helped us overcome raga dvesha, it will help us lot more. Means that sadhana has given us great result than something which we are doing, but it has not removed raga dvesha. Okay, that is one way to look at it. Just to observe where this mind is going. If it is kartavya, then it's okay. It will be able to drop it easily, bring it back. That is the nature of kartavya. Once it is done, it is over. But if it is something prompted by raga dvesha or desire, then after it is done, it will linger on. It will keep going on in the sadhaka's mind. Bhagavan says this is a great wealth. If we are able to pull back our mind and keep it in Vedanta. Okay. And it's a great ability, to keep our mind in one topic, to be able to consistently think about that topic. Okay. If you read Bhagavan Shankaracharya's Bhashya, there you see his control over his mind. All topics he will mention, but he will come back to the same point where he started. Tasmat, he will write, and then conclude from where he started. So many things he mentioned in between. Vidyaranya Swamiji has written one chapter in Panchadashi called as Trupti Deepa. Only one verse he has taken from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And I think he has written around 270 plus verses, only on one shloka. Every quarter he explains and then connects back the whole idea. The point is how much control they would have on their mind, right? If you have to write 270 shlokas in a coherent way, and that too with meter and everything, how much of shamah would be there? So that is what we should appreciate. And then came damah, where the emphasis was mainly on sense organs compared to the mind. Here it is on sense organs. Being able to withdraw them, not one by one. It is not like, although we give the turtle example, like how this turtle withdraws. It is withdrawing ourselves from any sharp reaction while we are there in vyavahar. That is called as damah. This point we had seen in Tattva Bodha, Bhagavad Gita, so I will not elaborate more on that. Entire Sthita Prajna Lakshana, Bhagavan says this is the main sadhana. But over here, this sadhaka is doing that so that he can put his mind in Shravanam mananam, and nididhyasanam. That is why you see the definition, bahyendriyanam tad vyatirikta. Tad vyatirikta means shravanadi vyatirikta. Those vishayas which are taking my mind away from Vedanta, towards those he withdraws. Tad vyatirikta vishayebhyaha nivartanam damah. And Bhagwan Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita that this is an ability which will come with practice, again and again, doing abhyasa of this, at the same time having vairagya. Understanding that this place where mind is going, it is not my goal. If it is kartavya, then I will fulfill it. But if it is some raga dvesha, then the sadhaka puts forth effort to drop it. Okay. Shamah and damah. Now comes Uparati. Okay, the 21st verse is Uparati. Uparati can be understood as the culmination of Shama and Dama. If somebody has very nicely done Shama and Dama, natural progression, natural result of that will be Uparati. But Vedantasara definition of Uparati is very different. Let us see. Nivartitanam etesham tadvyatirikta vishayebhyah uparamanam uparatihi athava vihitanam karmanam vidhina parityagah nivartitanam etesham tadvyatirikta vishayebhyah uparamanam. Tadvyatirikta means shravanadi vyatirikta. Once mind and sense organs have been withdrawn from sense objects, not allowing them to go back into those objects, those places from where we have withdrawn. That ability is called as uparamana. Pulling it back is called as damah. Pulling the mind back is called as shamah. But once they have been pulled back, keeping them safely, not allowing them to go back again, that also requires effort. That effort is called as, or that quality is called as Uparati. In Tattva Bodha it was said, Swadharma Anushtanam. Very simple definition was given, and there we had seen conserving our energy, that is called as Uparati. This mind would have gone to those places where it would have lost a lot of its vitality, lost its energy. And the confusion comes when it is a kamya vishaya, when it is an object of desire, not necessarily a forbidden object, not nishiddha vishaya, that is a strict no-no. But these are places where mind gives a lot of logic. It says, oh, for some time, only for today. And there it will go and get stuck. Okay, you include everything over there, social media, all those things will fall under that category, where it is not nishiddha, but because it is kamya, it will take away our time and our energy. So being able to keep the mind after it has been withdrawn from those vishayas, that ability is called as Uparati. And that person has lot of inner strength. He can use that conserved energy in the right place. That investing of that conserved energy in the right place is going to come later. That is called as samadhanam. If you don't invest it, that energy will just again fizzle out. So taking that conserved energy and then putting it in Vedanta, putting it in Shravanam, Mananam, etc. This was the ability that Arjuna had. lot of Uparati. Means his focus was so single pointed. That is why one story comes in Mahabharata, all of you must be familiar with it, where Dronacharya, he calls all the 5 Pandavas. Duryodhana was also there, he must have called him also. And he says, I have kept a wooden bird there on the tree. Tell me what you see. First Bhima comes. He says, I see the beautiful mountains, I see the tree, it's so nice in that background. And I see the bird also. Dronacharya says, okay, you don't try anything. Let Yudhishthira come. Yudhishthira sees the bird. He says, I see only the bird. Dronacharya says, good, but you are not ready yet. Arjuna comes and he says, what do you see? Arjuna says, I see only the eye of that bird, wooden bird. Dronacharya says, see closely. He says, in that eye, I see the marking. He says, now you are ready, go ahead. He was trained in that way, because of which he won the Swayamvara. Because in Draupadi Swayamvara, that was the criteria. You had to look at the reflection in a pot of boiling oil. Another wooden fish was there. Arjuna said, I have done it many times before. So that is this ability to invest energy in the right place. And first, Uparati is conserving our energy. We had seen in Tattva Bodha the chart and everything. What are the productive hours that we get in a day? Increasing that productive number of hours, that is a result of Uparati. Okay. Now, somebody might say, this Uparati definition looks very similar to Damah. In Dama, you said you withdrew from outer objects. And in Uparati, you are saying you are just keeping the mind and the sense organs after it has been withdrawn. So what is the difference? It looks like it is almost similar. Which definition? Damaha and Uparati. Definition 20 and the first half of 21. So now Vedantasara Acharya, Swami Sadananji, he gives a different definition of, alternative definition of Uparati. What does he say? Athava, or Uparati means Vihitanam Karmanam Vidina Parityagaha. In simple words, taking sannyasa. That is the meaning of Uparati. Vidivat sannyasa. In those karmas which were enjoined by Vedas, same Vedas, they give an option of dropping those karmas and taking sannyasa. So he says one who is able to do that, that quality is also called as Uparati. And in this, there are 2 types of sannyasa. One is called as Vividisha sannyasa, means sannyasa taken for gaining knowledge of Vedanta. And second one is called as Vidvat sannyasa. Sannyasa taken after knowledge, seeing no purpose in doing anything else, single-pointedly reveling in that knowledge. Those Mahatmas who take sannyasa, that is called as Vidvat sannyasa. Somebody like Taponji Maharaj. Taponji Maharaj took sannyasa after, Tattva Jnanam. He was reveling in that knowledge. Then he took sannyasa. Means what Vedantasara Acharya is saying is, taking sannyasa is a prerequisite for studying Vedanta. Okay. He says if you want to do Panchakosha Viveka, we have to get vairagya from other koshas. What is outside? All those koshas one has to get vairagya. And sannyasa ashrama is not an optional ashrama. Everybody has to go through it. Brahmacharya, Grahastha, then Vanaprastha has to come. Sannyasa also has to come. And sometimes we get to hear this statement also. that taking sannyasa is not necessary. If we have vairagya inside, taking sannyasa is not necessary. This statement is okay if it is said by the guru, not shishya. Okay. If guru says this statement, that is okay, but not the student should be saying that statement. It is just like if a child is there and for some reason is not feeling well, and or he's stressed out about something at school, what do you say? Okay, today if you don't go to school, it's okay. Don't get too stressed out about something. It's okay if you don't go to school. But if child himself starts saying, dad, it's okay if I don't go to school. Anyway, they don't teach anything. So if I say it is okay, if you say it is not okay. Okay, so that also we should appreciate, that Vidivat Sannyasa is required as a qualification for Vedanta. But now, whenever we read definitions like this, we should try to appreciate in our life. That part also we will discuss, but we should not dismiss the main meaning of this statement. So what is the applied meaning of it? Applied meaning is, in our day, in our week, we should have at least some time where we exclusively devote our mind to study of Vedanta. So at least for that duration, we are in sannyasa. Sannyasa means what? Letting go. Right? So it could be for that duration, we have let gone. People take sabbatical, right? They say, I want to do an MBA. I want to take a sabbatical from work. Why can't you do both? He says, no, I need to focus. Without that, I cannot accomplish my goal. So this is temporary sannyasa, where for a particular duration, you are taking time off from other things, pulling mind back and exclusively putting it in Vedanta. Puja Gurudev gave such a beautiful, format of this sannyasa. He said all our retreats that we have, during that time, we are in this definition. Vihitanam karmanam vidina parityaga. Whatever other duties we have and everything, from that we have withdrawn and we can focus our mind on Vedanta. So much so that when he used to have retreats in Siddhabari and other places, he used to give an orange gown. Even now, if you see pictures, you will see people wearing that orange gown. What is that? It is a symbolic, indicator to the mind that for this duration, our sole identity is that of a sadhaka. No other goal except for Tattvajnanam, abiding in this knowledge. Okay, so that is the applied meaning of this, that we should be able to withdraw ourselves during the day for some time, during the week for some time, and maybe half a year for a few days. Okay. Why should we do it? So we should do it because we need a available mind to reflect upon subtle topics of Vedanta. If mind is occupied by some karma, mind is occupied by something immediate, something urgent, then topics of Vedanta will not be appreciated. This story comes in Bhagavatam, where Brahmaji was so preoccupied by creation. He had to create this also, create that also. So many things were there. All jivas are waiting for karma phala. Sanat Kumaras come to him and ask, "Oh father, we have a question. We are unable to figure out whether mind has entered objects or objects have entered mind. They look so intertwined. And you keep telling us, separate mind from objects, separate mind from objects. We are wondering whether two different things or they are one thing." Brahmaji says, what kind of question is this? I'm unable to understand where this question is coming from. Prashna bija, I am not able to understand. He says, Bhagwan has to take avatar and then teach you. You pray to Bhagwan, I cannot answer your question. Then there Brahmaji is doing this Leela to show us that unless we have a mind which is not preoccupied, at least for some time, we are not saying the whole day we should have it. We cannot. Nobody can have it for that matter. But having this ability that at least for some duration, we are able to withdraw this mind. And because shamah, damah is there, viveka, vairagya is there, then this mind will start thinking about Vedanta. Okay, so that is the first applied meaning of Uparati. And the second one is scaling down. Sannyasa ashrama means this. Scaling down, simplifying our choices in different things, what we wear, what we eat, where we want to go, how we want to go. In all those things, if we are able to simplify our choices, what we will notice is our mind is getting stronger. More choices we give to this mind, more adamant this mind becomes. And if that choice is not available, it will feel very miserable when that choice is not there. Okay, so these are a few pointers. There are several we can reflect. I had mentioned that there is a commentary called as Vidwan Manoranjani, right, on Vedantasara, and Subodhini is also there. So I'm just presenting the same ideas in a simplified form. All these points are from there I have taken. But there it is given in a very strict form. You say don't go to the secondary meaning, just stick to the one that is given here. Vihitanam karmanam vidina parityaga. Don't go to any other applied meaning. But we should be able to practice whatever this sadhana is said. So what are the simple points we saw? Mind which is not preoccupied. Sannyasa means that. That mind which is making or which is simplifying its choices, that kind of mind one should try to cultivate. This is called as Uparati. Now look at samadhanam after that. Leave Titiksha for the time being, because samadhanam is directly tying to Uparati. Once you have conserved this energy, investing it in the right place. And what is the right place? Shravana, manana, nididhyasana. That knowledge which we are seeking, making sure that we do Shravanam when we are at our peak of sattva. Okay, identifying those productive hours and then investing our mind in Vedanta. So you see the 23rd verse. Nigruhitasya manasaha shravanadau tad anuguna vishaye shravanadau tad anuguna vishaye cha samadhihi samadhanam nigruhitasya manasaha. That mind which has been very well withdrawn, placing that mind in Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam, that is called as samadhi, that act of placing. Putting our mind in Vedanta, that is called as samadhanam. Putting our mind means what? It is not like physically taking one thing and putting. That our mind is effortlessly staying with Vedantic thoughts. It is effortlessly absorbing while it is doing Shravanam. That is samadhanam. So much so that it forgets the world. Samadhi means that, except for the topic that you want to think about, nothing else comes to mind. Okay. There is a nice story to demonstrate, this samadhanam. There was a great scholar whose name was Vachaspati Mishraji. I have told this story before, but you listen again in the context of this. Vachaspati Mishraji, great scholar, And he decided to write a commentary on Shankar Bhashya of Brahma Sutra. And it's a voluminous work, a long project, but he decided to take it up. And he was very young at that age. But everybody in the family said, no, you should get married at that age. And he said, well, I'm doing this work and my mind is so absorbed in this that I don't know whether I'll do justice if I get married. But no, forcefully, they made him get married. And his wife's name was Bhanumati. Bhanumati was her name. And she comes after marriage and notices him. He's so absorbed in his work all day, not even knowing what is happening around him. Morning, he will come and sit to write his commentary. Whole day, he's just engrossed in his work. And it is said 7 years pass by. And one day at night, the lamp goes off. And then suddenly he wakes up, Vachaspati Mishra ji, he stops his composition, says, what happened? And then a hand comes and lights the lamp. And he looks up and says, oh lady, who are you? 7 years, I have seen this, somebody who is taking care, doing everything for me. Means he was in that ecstasy. We should not take the literal meaning of it. So Bhanumati says, I am your wife and I have served you for this long, looking at your devotion to this topic. And they say she was also an avatar. Both of them were avatars. But we'll not go into that story. But Bhanumati ji was also an avatar. So then Vachaspati Mishra, he says, because you served me in this way, I will make you immortal. Means I will make your name immortal. I won't name this composition by any other thing but your name. So that composition is called as Bhamati. We have two prasthana, right, in Vedanta. One is Vivarana prasthana, another is Bhamati prasthana. So Bhamati prasthana means those ideas, those topics which are elaborated in that commentary by Vachaspati Mishra ji. But that is the story behind it. That she serves him for 7 years, looking at his absorption in that topic. That ability to put mind in a subject for an extended period is called as samadhanam. Okay. Now, while we do that, things are not going to be the same every day. So many pairs of opposites will keep coming, bearing through all of those pairs of opposites without complaining. Going through those pairs of opposites as tapasya, saying that Bhagwan is sending me all this so that I don't have to go to forest and do tapasya. I can do it wherever I am. Okay, that is called as Titiksha. 22nd verse, just the one before. Titiksha, Titiksha, Shitoshnadi Dvandva Sahishnuta, Shitoshnadi Dvandva Sahishnuta, Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam, Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam, Apratikara Purvakam, Apratikara Purvakam, Chinta Vilaparahitam, Chinta Vilaparahitam, Satitiksha Nigadyate, Satitiksha Nigadyate. What is Titiksha? Shitoshnadi Dvandva Sahishnuta. Means again and again, if pairs of opposites come at body level, Shita Ushna means heat and cold. At mind level, Mana Apamana. All dvandvas we should include, not only Shita Ushna. Sometimes there is praise, sometimes there is criticism. Mana Apamana. Sukha Dukkha. Joy is there. Things happen the way we want. Sometimes things don't happen the way we want. Going through that with an equanimous mind. Keeping this point in our mind that resolving dvandva is not our goal. Our goal is transcending Dvandva to find that Nitya Vastu, to abide in that Nitya Vastu, which is the substratum of all these Dvandvas. And another thing is, these Dvandvas fall in the realm of karma, and resolving them is karma phala, and that karma phala is anitya. Today, if I have resolved something, how long is that resolution going to stay? Not that one should not resolve. Don't take that extreme meaning also. But understanding or come to recognize this point, no dvandva, no pairs of opposite, if you are able to resolve, is a permanent solution. It is only a matter of time. Some other pair of opposite will come. And if I just keep fighting with those pairs of opposites, trying to resolve them, a lot of our energy and time will go in that direction. At the same time, mind will become more and more adamant, right? Because this sadhaka feels whatever, I have decided out of this dvandva, that alone I will choose. Bhagavan says, no, this dvandva is karma phala. It will come to us unasked. Do we ask for dukkham? No, it comes to us unasked. What we saw yesterday, right? Vasishtha Maharshi told our Dashrath Maharaj, even without asking, things come in our life based upon our karmas. So why unnecessarily get so disturbed by this pair of opposites? Doing our satkarma and leaving the rest to Bhagavan. Goswamiji said, this Titiksha is the main quality of a sadhu. In beginning of Balkanda we saw this. Sadhu charita subha charita kapasu nirasa bisada guna maya phala jasu je sahi dukha parachidra durava bandaniya jahi jaga jasapava. He said the main quality of sadhu is that person is able to take different experiences from the world and give back sweet experiences. How? Can you give an example? This is like cotton. That cotton goes through so many processing. It is beaten up and then it is made to go through that machine and everything. And then finally cloth is made from that cotton. And the person who did everything, the cotton comes and becomes a cloth on that person only. Je sahi dukha parachidra. So much needle work is done in that cotton and everything. All of that it quietly forbears, but gives back things which is sweet only. Goswamiji said, that is how they have attained yasha. Bandaniya jahi jaga jasapava. Not any other quality, but this titiksha. Great virtue, in family, work, wherever we are, understanding this fact that dvandvas are a fact of life. They will keep coming. We cannot stop it from outside. What can we do? We can make ourselves so strong that we are unaffected by those dvandvas. If not unaffected, at least less affected. Right? So that ability is called as titiksha. Now, because we are studying other texts, if you remember some ideas, you should go back and connect also there. Like in second chapter, Bhagavan Krishna said, one who is able to forbear these dvandvas, that person becomes fit for amrutatvam. Yam hina vyathayante te purusham purusharshava sama dukkha sukham dhiram somrutattvaya kalpate. Why? Because he says titiksha is the main quality for making this mind stronger. And even if there are experiences that are, bothering from outside, this sadhaka is still able to keep mind in Vedanta. Okay, Vedanta will not change the world. Because I have studied sadhana chatushtaya, Titiksha, dvandvas will stop coming. I says, no, dvandva will come. But sadhaka will not get affected by dvandva. Now comes another important quality, which is Shraddha. Okay, what is that? 24th verse. Guru Upadishtam Vedantavakyeshu Vishvasah Vedantavakyeshu Vishvasah Shraddha Shraddha. Shraddha means thinking or having conviction that this particular thing will accomplish my goal. Okay. If somebody says, I have Shraddha in astrology. Now, what does that Shraddha mean in astrology? That person feels, if I go to an astrologer, he will help me accomplish my goal. Okay, that is called as simple meaning of Shraddha. This sadhaka is the one who has firm conviction that whatever I am listening from my guru and the source from which he is telling me, that thing will help me accomplish my goal. What is my goal? My goal is to have Nitya Vastu Brahma, to abide in that Brahma, to come to understand myself as unconditioned happiness. So for that, the means which is there, in that means he has Shraddha. What are the means? Guru Upadishta Vedanta Vakyeshu. Not only in Guru, not only in Vedanta. Both of them together. Right? Because there can be a sadhaka who has lot of Shraddha in Guru, but no Shraddha in Vedanta. You see, all the scriptures and all, I don't have to study. I just have Shraddha in what my Guru says. Guru will not agree with that. You know, they will say, purpose of teaching is to make us independent. If Vedanta is not introduced, or if right verses are not pointed out, then as long as you have Shraddha, it will work. But later on, if that Shraddha gets shaken, or if somebody else comes and you have to convey this message, then that person will not be able to again communicate. There can be several things which are lost in communication in that way. That is why you see the beauty, both of them are kept together. Okay, Guru Vakya or Guru and Vedanta. What if I have Shraddha only in Vedanta, not in Guru? There is a chance that you will misunderstand Vedanta. All mantras which are there, some of them are so cryptic. Some of them have apparently contradictory meanings. Some of them seem impractical. How are we able to, or how will we be able to understand all those things? So one who has Shraddha in both, that quality is called Shraddha. One who has faith in both, that quality is called as Shraddha. In several places, it is mentioned that this one quality will bring all other qualities. If one has Shraddha in Guru and in Vedanta, they might not have other things fully developed yet. But that single pointed surrender is there, everything else will come. Bhagavan said, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. Not, Medhavan labate jnanam or any other quality. Dhanavan labate jnanam. No. This is Shraddhavan labate jnanam. One who has this Shraddha, everything else will come to them. This is what we see in the life of Totakacharya ji. If you have seen Upanishad Ganga, the last episode is on Kritajnata. And that episode is of Totakacharya ji, where it is said he was not a very brilliant student in the beginning. Other three were extraordinary. Sureshwaracharya ji was the eldest amongst all of them. He was so brilliant and had, he was like the big brother. That is how it is portrayed, Upanishad Ganga. Very nice episode it is. Padmapadacharya ji, very scholarly. So Totakacharya ji again and again would go to Sureshwaracharya ji and say, can you explain what he is saying? Because nothing I understand. Whenever he speaks in Sanskritam. And Sureshwaracharya ji was like the elder person, in that. And Hastamalakacharya ji, he never speaks. Always is in samadhi, just staring at the wall. Very withdrawn. And whatever my Acharya says, I don't understand whatever he teaches also. Nothing wrong with the Acharya. That also he says. I am not able to grasp what he is saying. And then Sureshwaracharya ji, it is given in a very sweet way over there. In the night, he again teaches whatever teacher had told. And like this, he was just continuing. And it is said one day he was on other bank of the river, Narmada river, he was washing, the clothes of his Acharya, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. And Bhagwan said, let us wait for Totakacharya ji to come before he was getting ready to start the class. And it is said one of the students probably must have remarked that he doesn't understand anyway. Why do you have to wait for him? So Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, to explain the power of Shraddha, he gave, his blessing to Totakacharya ji. And when he comes, he composes a stuti in one of the most difficult meters, which we otherwise chant as Totakashtakam. What we chant as Totakashtakam, that was composed by him right after he received these blessings from Shankaracharya ji. And then he has written few more texts also. But that prasanga is only to show that if somebody has Shraddha in Guru and in Vedanta, then all other qualities will come to them. Okay. Now there is one small topic which is related to Samanya Shraddha and Vishesha Shraddha. What is Samanya Shraddha? Samanya Shraddha means this person is very devoted, very positive, very optimistic in his life. That also needs Shraddha. One of the signs of Shraddha is optimism, enthusiasm in life. He has Shraddha in goodness of others. Everybody has goodness in them inherently put by Bhagavan. This we will see in Bhagavad Gita next Sunday. Sahayajna praja sushtva purovacha prajapati. Brahmaji is saying, I have put this karma yoga buddhi, I have put this good qualities in everybody. It is up to us to discover. So that is called as Samanya Shraddha. They will go to temple, they will bow down in front of an altar, any altar for that matter. They feel some kind of inexplicable power, inexplicable strength in those altars. That is called as Samanya Shraddha. That Shraddha will lead us towards Vishesha Shraddha. Vishesha Shraddha means getting this firm conviction that if I have studied Vedanta sincerely, Vedanta will help me accomplish my goal. There is no other way. This alone is the path. To come here, it takes a long time. Because most sadhakas will feel Vedanta also gives moksha, but there can be something else also which will give moksha. So this single pointed conviction in Vedanta and Guru Vakya, that is called as Vishesha Shraddha. And that Vishesha Shraddha will bring clear knowledge. You can look at it as Samanya Shraddha means sunlight which is spread all over. It is available to everybody. But if you take a magnifying glass and put that sun rays, it can burn paper, it can burn so many other things. Why? Because that rays of light have become concentrated, so that Shraddha also has become very single pointed. You see this in the Shanti mantra of Kenopanishad. What did the student say? Maham Brahma Nirakuryam, Ma Brahma Nirakarot. Even if I don't appreciate Vedanta right now, even if I am not able to grasp this point that everything is Brahma, most importantly, Jagat is Mithya. If that point, even if I am not able to appreciate, I will still take it to be true on the strength of Shraddha. Vedanta doesn't want us to remain at Shraddha, but we should not let go of Vedanta thinking it to be impractical or something. That quality which will help us stay on this path, sincerely pursue this knowledge, that quality is called as Shraddha. Shraddha is needed only when clear knowledge is not there. Okay? If I already have clear knowledge, I don't need Shraddha. Like fire is hot, in that thing I don't need Shraddha. Why? Because I can see it with pratyaksha, with my sense organs I can get knowledge of that thing. But if somebody says there is Agni Devata who should be invoked in that fire. Now Agni Devata is not seen with physical eyes. But if I say if Upanishads have said, if Vedas have said, then I will still have Shraddha and do whatever ahuti is to be done. Like yajna, which is done, it is said when you put that ahuti, Indra Devata comes. Agni Devata comes. And Agni Devata takes oblations to different other devatas. On what basis is somebody doing that? So that is on the strength of Shraddha. Okay, so in Vedanta also, before we get that clarity, before we get that conviction, what will save us, what will keep us on the path, that is this value of Shraddha. More we will see in the next session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Difference between shamah and damah is not clear. Simple, actually, that is why in the beginning we said there is an overlap. It is not that shamah is different, damah is completely different. So you will see some overlaps. It will not be a very distinct line. But simple way to distinguish it is shamah is predominantly mind. And damah is predominantly sense organs. Like if somebody says he has very good damah, means what? Even if mind is having some extreme thought, it won't express in their vyavahara. So that not expressing in vyavahara, that is called as damah. All of us go through this. Means all of us have this quality to some measure. Like when you are at work, in a meeting or something, and somebody says some point which you cannot just accept it. Means you know that it will not work or something. But still you cannot say it loud, that what kind of idea this is. So what we are practicing there is damah. Mind is already saying it won't work. But while expressing it, there is a lot of polishing. But at mind level also, whatever kama, krodha, lobha, all those different 6 enemies which are rising, quietening them at the right time, that is called as shama. Okay, this is very broad difference. In today's lifestyle, where all varnashrama vyavastha is mixed up, and really speaking, there is no vanaprastha happening in a systematic way in the society. What should we do to make such thing possible? Waiting is not an option, I think. So that is why, even if we cannot do it externally, it can be practiced at mind level. Those two definitions we saw of sannyasa, right? What were the two ones? One is keeping the mind available, making sure it is not preoccupied. That we can do anytime, right? That will be the result of shamah and damah. And simplifying our choices is the characteristic of vanaprastha. And one has to start preparing for it in grahastha itself. Culmination of that will be seen in vanaprastha. Right? Because we will have to figure out how to live these values, how to live this sadhana chatushtaya. We'll have to keep doing mananam. And more importantly, our mind should become of this nature. Mind should be a sannyasi. In that way, we can look at it. What is the difference between vishesha Shraddha and I think it is called as blind faith? Vishesha Shraddha and blind faith. One thing to note here is, it's a great blessing if we have faith first. So whether it is some superstition or some kind of other Shraddha, yes, it is good to have it. We can fine tune it once we start having it. Right? Otherwise, we realized even to have faith, even to trust something is so difficult. So Vishesha Shraddha over here refers mainly to our Shraddha in Pramana. Not any other Laukika Shraddha, not worldly Shraddha we are talking about. We are talking about having that conviction that Upanishad is Pramana, it is a valid means of knowledge, and that is what will take me to my goal. Okay, so that is simple meaning. All right, there is one more question which I will note and cover it in our next session. Hari Om everyone. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Shri